Welcome again to Beats and Buddies. I'm Beats, he's Buddies. That's not right, actually. I'm Misa.
I'm Nikki. Oh, Nikki Nair.
He is. He actually is. We didn't pull him off the street. He's got talent. We're going to talk about that today, tonight. I don't know when you're watching this, but that's what we're going to do on this couch in this Holiday Inn. Stay tuned. Nikki. Nikki 2Ks.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever call you that?
No, but it would be nice.
Okay, good. I was going to say cut that one because it sounded better in my head when I was high last night. And so I'm glad. Okay, keep that one in. It's a good mafia name also.
Yeah.
Right, Nikki 2Ks. Nikki Nair, not a spelunker. Let me check on that because I did some research last night. Did you know?
Yeah, I've seen that person. Yeah, I think that's like, it's because it's just my name. It's also somebody else's. Yeah.
That would be it. Or they stolen your identity. Have you checked? Have you done a check on this? Here's what I think. There could only be one. You got to find. They're probably in a cave. You got to find them. You got to fight them. Only one can leave the cave. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think they would win because they are a spelunker. So if we went in the cave together, I would not know how to get out, or they would take my light or something. And if you've ever gone caving, it's pretty scary, I think.
Yes.
If you have to spend the night in the cave, and then like you don't have, it's like pitch black. I don't know.
Strategy. I like that. I'm very shoot from the hip kind of person, and so I would have gone in the cave with no knowledge of caves.
Okay.
You ever seen The Descent?
No,
It's
I
a
haven't.
great horror film. It's about being in a cave. It's about women spelunking. Very solid. Do you like horror films?
Yeah, that sounds like a cool movie, especially given how scary caves are.
Yes, yes. And let me give you a little movie fact here. I mean, no, this is about you, but let me give you a movie fact.
Yeah.
There's something in the cave. There's creatures, and the people, the actors, didn't know what they were going to look like. So when they see them for the first time, real fear. Mwah. Smell it,
That's
feel
amazing.
it, love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love me some movies. So, who is Nikki? We're gonna get into that. Who is he? Who is you?
Oh, I don't know. I
mean, are we even real? Time isn't. We don't even touch each other. Atoms they repel, right? Like I think I know how this feels. Do I really though? Is my brain just making that information? Nikki, 2014, you joined Knox.
Yeah.
Which I'm now realizing is a little a play on Knoxville.
Yeah, that was what it was, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are we discovering this right now together?
Are we? I don't know.
It's a monthly, Nikki. You're in a monthly. It's Knox. They're doing monthlies.
Yeah.
Who are these people? What are they?
Yeah,
Who are they to you?
so they were, I initially I think they started the party in like 2012 or 11, and had been throwing these small like techno parties. And the first one I went to was in either 2012 or 2013, I can't remember, and it was small, but it was like not intimidating, and they were really nice. And because I kept going, they asked me if I wanted to DJ with them, and that was kind of how it started. And they were like it was three people: Alex Falk, St. Thomas Ledoux, and Dialectic Signs. And Alex is kind of the like old. He's not old, but like older than us, raver.
The old head, right? Like he's the
He showed us all how to do
the
all
Gandalf.
this stuff. Yeah, the Gandalf. Yeah, and he was already like releasing techno and getting it played by like all the cool DJs in Germany. And so it was like the fact that it was local and so non-intimidating was like really exciting.
Great
to me.
combination.
Yeah.
I love friendship.
Yeah.
Very important to me. I love friendship. Got a good friend circle. Very happy about it. Took me a while to get there. Sounds like this perfect melding: art, friendship, raves, Love all
Yes.
those things.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that? 2012, 2013, you know, like you're going to these parties, but where were you? Where were you before that?
Like musically, I was not doing. I mean, I was making like electronic music on my own, kind of, and not. It wasn't like for anyone. It was just this is just what I do, or what I had done, I had. Before that, I was in college, and I had a band in college, and we played some shows, but not very many. And I don't know. Yeah, that was with Knox. I like started focusing in on actual techno with them, and it became kind of this like more like coherent thing that I was doing with dance music, instead of just making it to fill up my hard drives and not show anyone.
A mad scientist in the lab. A wizard in a tower. I love that. I love techno. I love German techno. I love Detroit techno. I love minimal techno. I love German techno. I love techno. I talk about techno all the time. People are tired of it. I won't stop. I talk about techno and Sopranos.
Okay, I like both of those things, both techno and Sopranos. And I guess I'm about to have a, was it prosciutto sandwich?
A prosciutto.
Prosciutto, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think like all of my, now whenever I eat cured meats, I say the names like that.
Same, right,
reflexively.
ricotta. Maybe not, that's not a cured meat, but you know.
Yeah, and
I'm
spaghetti.
on the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had never heard that one in real. Have you heard those in real life?
I haven't.
Do people say
I have
that?
not.
Okay.
Yeah. And every time I hear it, I'm like, for real?
Yeah.
But I never, I was never on the East Coast. I don't know about East Coast Italians. I was mostly a Texas girl. Did a little bit of time in Southern California. I don't know. You know?
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Yeah, that's like its own culture, the East Coast.
Yes.
Like the Italians who live there are multi-generational and have probably developed or they have developed their own dialects and stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
I love East Coast. I feel like I get along with them. East Coast, Northern folk, we're all just a bunch of assholes. We just say how we are, how we feel, how we are, and I can get in with that. I like
Okay.
it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I could probably be Italian, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I never will be, though. Genetically, it's impossible. Nikki, you were in a band. What kind of music was that?
We were playing, it was like funk kind of. It was instrumental, and it was like kind of influenced by like Medeski, Martin and Wood, and it's like jazz funk kind of stuff. Yeah, it was a trio. It was me, a guitarist, and a bassist, and I played the drums.
Good. So percussion.
Yes.
You're in there.
Oh yeah.
When did you pick up the drums?
When I was like 8 or something. I think that was when I started, and I was pretty serious about it kind of until college. Yeah.
A wunderkind. Now, are there anybody else in your family that was really into music? How did you stumble upon? You're 8. You're just walking into a music store and saying, "Let me try some of these drum sets."
I think like I don't know why, but ever since like I could like remember, I really just wanted to play drums. I think when I first heard music, it was like it was when I was like 2, or when I first like remember hearing music. I think I had heard it my whole since I was little, but like I just wanted to play drums, and probably every year until I was 8, I asked my parents for drums or if I could play drums. So it eventually they did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was very nice.
My
Yeah.
parents told me they were going to get me a trampoline, and they never did. It's like $112. Never did.
They're not even. Yeah, they're not expensive, and that's when you're a kid, you assume a trampoline is a pretty big investment, like a car. Or
Right.
that's like I assumed it was
Totally.
probably the same
I was like,
price
oh,
as
I
a
get
car.
it. I don't want to be a burden. Got an adult, looked up trampolines. I was like, what the fuck? You know what they did with my brother? My brother got an entire entertainment system for his every birthday. And it was right before Christmas, too.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into my traumas, but I never got the trampoline. And now I can't do backflips. And that is why I couldn't be a varsity cheerleader.
That's unjust. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I do hold it against them. Nikki, 2Ks, music. Tell me about, you're a kid. You hear the drums. There's obviously music that you're hearing. There's a drum pattern to it. You may not know it, but it's inside. You're feeling it inside you, and to the point where later on in your life, possibly, you're like, I have always been into this sound, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For me, it's like break beats. Like every time I look back, I love break beats. I love electric breaks. I love break. When I look back on like some of the things that I'm like, I've always been influenced by this sound. What was it for you?
You said it. It was breaks. I mean, I feel like that was like the songs I remember. Like I remember having this cassette, and I don't know what it was, but it had this crisscross performance. There were these the kids,
I know.
yeah, and the beats like that they had behind them, like I thought that was the coolest thing. It sounded really cool, and I didn't really understand that like that came from electronics or whatever, sampler. I thought it was like drums in my head, so it was like, oh, I want to make like the drum sound. That's like the cool sound.
Yeah.
And then like hearing like the Prodigy and stuff, and even like I remember Limp Bizkit when that like I was maybe 9 or something when I heard them, and their drummer played breaks. Like all of his like main beats were breaks, and that was like his other, like different than all the other nu metal drummers who were like more like metal drummers. That guy like actually played grooves, and I don't know. There were other like Chemical Brothers and stuff like
Definitely.
that. But when I like learned to play drums, that was what I was like excited about, trying to play like drum and bass and stuff.
On the drums, yes. Yeah, that's just, I watch a guy on the TikToks, as the kids call it, and he does a drum and bass on a drum set. So I finally get to see it happen, right? Oh God, it's very good. He's got this little spiral thing, and he's doing a whole. It's amazing to watch. I find it fascinating. So we're going. Real quick, I do want to talk about, because you touched on crisscross. I don't know if you ever heard this, but there was back in that time, maybe a little bit before, there was like this weird. I wouldn't say weird. I'm not going to use weird, but it was a unique sound in California. There's two groups that come out that stand out in mind. One was Tigra and Bunny, and it was like an electro break, and they'd be like, "We're Tigra and Bunny, and we like the boom," and they were talking about cars that go boom, and I'll send it. It's very, very good.
I want to hear that.
Oh,
that sounds sick.
Yeah. Yes. It's great. And the other one, I'll send, but it was called The Young and the Restless. It was a thing called B Girls, and it was like B stands for Broncos, base BMW. It was great, and very, very, very rappy but sing-songy, little record scratches.
Yeah.
It was like right when MTV Raps was still a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Big
Yeah,
part
I
of the
would
culture.
I would love to hear that. Yeah. I have very little memories from that. Like I was 2 or 3 when I heard that, so I wouldn't have. I don't think I knew any other music at that time.
Shaped me.
Yeah.
Shaped me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nikki, raves. When did you start going to raves, Nikki?
I think the first thing I went to, I don't know if it was like actually a rave, but it was a Diesel Boys show. Because that was like the first like DJ who my friends knew about and who I knew about, I guess. So he played in Tennessee, 2006 or 7 or something, and that was the first thing I went to.
So you're like, hey, we know about this thing. It's got this sound. You're into breakbeats. You're saying like, I'll go check it out. I love friends. I love friendship. I love discovering. I love exploring.
Well, yeah, I had heard his music before. Like I think like I had been listening to like mixes of his that I downloaded for like years before that, and then I found out that he was playing and went, and it was everything I kind of. I mean, it was even. You don't get like drum and bass until you hear it on a sound system. Then it's like it becomes something else. So I already liked it, but then it was like kind of mind melting. That performance, or that whatever party,
What was that party like? Your first party. You're walking in. There's lights. There's not lights. There's people. It's kind of not people because some of them are on drugs. They're not really people at some points. But you're entering. It's new.
Yeah, it was kind of like scary compared to like the other, like I think I had been going to like jam band kind of things at the time because that was what my friends were into. And this crowd was like bigger people who looked scarier. Like it was like, it was Tennessee, so it was like this like, I don't know, there was these like big dudes in tap out shirts. I remember,
God.
you know, like that style of
But like a
person.
candy necklace.
There wasn't candy at that
I guess
one.
the
It
drum and
was-
bass doesn't really have a lot of candy in it, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was more like people who were like ready to like
Yeah.
beat you up, but no one was gonna beat anyone up.
They
But
were
it
all
was
on
like,
ecstasy. You can't swing when you're on ecstasy.
yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, yeah. But the music was amazing. Like, I think it was him, and there was this other DJ called Demo who played with him, and then a local DJ who I didn't know at the time. Yeah.
Love. So was it like in a big venue? Was it maybe like a warehouse? Was it somebody's house?
It was like a bar or
Oh.
bar club, like tiny. It felt like a dive bar or something. It wasn't a real like venue or like or rave kind of space either. I didn't go to like a real rave thing until college, and that was in Pittsburgh, and they actually had raves there. And
Pittsburgh's got a lot of warehouses, I bet.
yeah, like and just like things in like there was this like Irish center that they would have parties in, and there was one in like an old church. It was just like random places where they would just have
Love
DJs
that.
playing. Yeah.
Pittsburgh's kind of grimy, so it's got like kind of that feeling, right? Like you're going in, and you're like, this is gonna be something. This is it's a little darkness to it, and drum and bass too. If you're going to a drum and bass show in Pittsburgh, I mean that's a whole mood. That's a whole vibe.
I mean, I think they have like a pretty developed drum and bass scene, and they had like pretty like in Pittsburgh. I went to parties that were like mixed genre, so it would have like hardcore room and like techno room and some trance person and like all kinds of stuff.
Not a trance fan. I'm not a big fan of a lot of synths. I don't know. I like a
Okay.
modular synth. Different than a not in a
I
not
feel
into
that.
it.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah.
DJ. When did you start?
That was when I started with Knox. I hadn't DJ'd before that. I think I had a bunch of music, but I had never thought that I could DJ. It was always whenever I went to raves and stuff, I didn't like go and meet people or anything. I would just go there, and I'm like pretty shy person, so like I don't, I wouldn't talk to anyone. I would just show up and dance and then leave, and so I would I like didn't. I thought that like being the DJ was this kind of like almost like unattainably cool like thing that you got to do if you were like one of them, but I was like not one of them,
And was it vinyl at that point? Probably not vinyl. It was probably a lot more Serato at that point, right? Like, or did you start on vinyl?
Oh, when I started, no, it was CDJs with CDs. That was what people used. Yeah.
You're digging on the computer, on the internet, on the web.
But I had started collecting records already because like I was into techno at the time, or I had like gotten into techno on my own, and so I just started buying techno records just for myself and was like slowly building a collection. So I started DJing vinyl too pretty fast, like within the first few gigs I was DJing digital, I started trying to play records too.
Where were you finding the records, these techno records? Where were you finding them in Tennessee?
In Tennessee, you can't find much. They were in like I did find some really cool ones in used records in a used record bin at my store. I remember finding like an Underground Resistance record for 25 cents that like shouldn't have been 25 cents.
I love that.
But I had like started. Like the first time I went to this movement to DEMF, I guess it used to be
I've
called.
always wanted to go.
Yeah, it was because like Detroit is closer to Pittsburgh, so a lot of the people I knew in Pittsburgh like knew about that festival and said it was cool, so I went, and I think there I like went to a bunch of record stores and bought records, and so that was like the first like grip of records that I had. And then after that, it was like slowly building stuff. Yeah, in Tennessee, there's not much, but I cleaned out like all of the used bins of like anything that was electronic. So I have a lot of random like hardcore records or just things that are, you know, really bad house records and some really bad techno records that I got at that time.
Yeah. Do you have any electro break records?
Oh yeah.
Did you find that difficult? I tried to spin electro breaks for a little bit in the 90s, and it was so difficult. I couldn't even do 2 weeks. I was like, I'm making the thing that I love very ugly, and I stepped away from it. Big mistake.
Oh.
I'm doing controller stuff now, but
yeah.
you know, like I probably should have started with house. You know, just gotta get the hang of it.
It could be, yeah. Like, yeah. I feel like electro is more like it's very obvious when you like mess up the beat match.
Yeah.
I think it is a little like more
just constant
precise.
train wrecks.
Yeah.
Just, and I was like, oh, I gotta turn it off. You know. Like
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I think at that time it was like mostly house anyway. What we were playing. I think like, you know, and the BPMs were slower like for what was popular, and so how like a mixture of techno and house was
It's a good time.
What was
I
popular.
like doing a little bit of B more hard house and techno.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's like a good combination. Yeah.
It's favorite. I'm just for hours just playing with it, and I can't wait to graduate into some more advanced equipment. Let's talk about your first DJing gig.
Okay.
What was that like?
What was it like? I think it was like the side room or like the patio of like a EDM kind of party in Knoxville, and it was low pressure and very like it felt amazing, but it was like I played for like 5 people or something, and they all told me good job.
Oh.
I have no idea if I did a good job or not, but I had fun. Yeah.
Yeah, getting your feet wet, figuring it out, having a space, a safe place.
Yeah,
To kind of root yourself in.
Yeah, side rooms are important for that. I feel like
Definitely.
there needs to be more parties with like side rooms where like either that, I don't know, maybe that's still a thing in a lot of places, but that stopped happening in Knoxville, and I don't see it that often. But it seems like a good thing to have.
I haven't seen a side room in a very long time either, now that you bring that up.
Yeah, where like people who have never DJ'd can go try it. Yeah, it's nice.
So it sounds like you didn't really begin strictly with drum and bass. You were already exploring multiple genres and kind of collecting and playing and moving around, right?
Yeah. I mean, with drum and bass, actually, like I listened to it, but I never even considered DJing it at that time, because it was like, even producing it, like I had gotten into trying to make dance music, but drum and bass, it seems like it's so technical to like, and it seems like it's just an intimidating genre to get into, I think. Yeah.
I agree. For me, it seems like it's the cousin of electro breaks, you know?
Yeah.
It's got that situation where there's a lot happening. But with drum and bass and with, jungle, like there's just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You can't blend in the middle of the record like you can with techno and house, and that's where I wanted to go. But now you got to figure out, you don't want to slam it over. You want to at least get a little bit of blend.
Yeah. With drum and bass, like you for the most part you do mix with the drops, and you can't like do like with techno, especially like the really minimal stuff. it's fun to just like see what you can put on top of the other record, kind of.
See what it creates. Sometimes sounds that don't exist on both records.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's chemistry,
Yeah.
science. Do you recall in the height of EDM when everything was structured the same? All of the beat patterns would lead up, the drop would happen, you know, the build-ups were very long. You kind of were coming into that era.
Yeah, yeah.
But your production doesn't reflect where you were brought up, right? I listen to your stuff. I don't hear any of these gratuitous build-ups and crazy drops, which I love, right? Another thing I like about techno too is the drops kind of come in from the bottom. They don't really come in. They don't really drop in from the top. You kind of like, you before you know it, you're like, oh shit, here we are. Like, and it's like this whole other bassy, good sound. So, I guess what I'm asking here is, did you have any thoughts on that? Like, as you're growing and you're hearing these things, right? Like, especially at big massives.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it has to do with the type of party. Like, I think like what works in like a sweaty techno party that's like a dark room and not very many lights is not gonna work in a football stadium like full of like maybe more regular people. So like it's like it's not even that one is better or worse than the other. It just seems like they're different. They have different functions. Like with techno or with like these smaller parties, it's like you have to create like a vibe and create pressure on the dance floor, and it's not like a you don't want drama in like everyone raising their hands up at the same time and dropping them, you know.
Love that you said that. Let me tell you about an experience. 2017. I take away from my corporate job. I said, you know what? Burnt. I've got a little bit of money. Let me just see what I can do, right?
Yeah.
My best friends, they decided to open up a nail studio, cute nail studio, the best nail studios in Austin, Texas, and it still is. And they also were making mermaid tails, so silicone mermaid tails, fully functional.
Whoa.
And we had a gig doing the mermaid stuff in Atlanta, which you stay. Right? Did you know that Atlanta is an anagram of Tennessee? It's not. So we're in Atlanta, and we're at one of these race car kind of like raves, right? And like it was probably summer 2017, and I'm like, well, I haven't been to. I took a hiatus from raving since early 2000s up until like 2015 maybe, and I was like, I've never been to this. Let me see what it's about. Our job was to get a booth in the VIP and put on mermaid makeup to very drugged out ladies. It was a good fun. They're very sweaty, so it's hard to get the glitter to stick. But give me $40, I'm gonna throw some glitter in your face. So I'm there and I'm watching, waiting for my next client, looking at that we're next to a main stage. And I'm like, look at these regular motherfuckers. Look at them. Now, I'm a very bitter person. My name's Misa. You can't spell Misandros without Misa. I digress. I'm watching them. I mean, I got love in my heart, but I'm watching these people.
Yeah.
And the thing was, because I love raving, I love techno, I have a big love for it. And I'm watching these people fuck up the thing that I love. Yeah. And I'm there for so many hours, and I'm like, oh my God, it's all the same fucking formula. You know, I left it when it was becoming massive. Like I was, coming out, like I was like, this is gonna change, and the whole culture's changing. I'm seeing fucking football players that thought I was a geek now at raves. Yeah. Big dudes in candy necklaces, which is a really weird look. Not that you can't do what you want to do. Hey, I'm just saying, I know that's not you outside of the fucking rave. So I'm watching, I'm realizing it's all the same formula, and I'm seeing these zombie kids on really shitty pills. They're like walking, and then like that. They know when to throw their hands up, and everybody does it at the same time. And I'm like, but you don't know why you're doing it. You just know what the pattern is. And I have a photo of me fanning myself and just mean mugging them. Later that year, terrible. And what you said, like later that year in December, I decided to throw my first rave. Get my see what it's about. What else am I doing? I'm not doing anything, I got no job. I'm hanging out with my friend, one of my best friends. I've known her for 20 years. I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm manic right now, but you want to throw a rave together? And she was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. She's like, I know. Have you ever heard of Bill Converse?
Yeah, I love Bill Converse. Yeah, he's awesome.
He lives here. She's friends with him. She's like, we can get Bill Converse to headline. She's like, you're going to love him.
That's sick.
It was very good. It's a little cafe, shuts down at 10. We rave until 4.
Oh, perfect.
Made my little pills. Anyways, Bill Converse headlines, all vinyl.
Dope.
And I'm there, and I'm like, listen, I only want one fucking light.
Yeah.
I want no lights. I want one fucking techno party. Only one fucking
Hell
light.
yeah.
We did a coat check. It was very sweet. And yeah, you know, like it was everything that I had wanted. And I was like, I'm done. Like I did the thing that I love, and I did the way that I wanted to, and was done. But yeah, like seeing Bill Converse still to this day. I mean, anybody that knows me, I'm just constantly like, this guy's amazing. Got to see him twice in 1 week a couple months ago. Never happens.
That's awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And that's like, I feel like you did it right. Like you did the one, you knew like the one light. You get like a DJ like Bill Converse in a room like that, the party is gonna be perfect.
Was.
Yeah.
I had a friend show up and he'd never done this before, and he's like, "Oh, I saw you posted," and he's like, "I'm just gonna come check it out." By mid-Bill Converse set, he was like, "Oh, this is what it is."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes, this is what it is." And you know, I feel like in Austin, it's actually kind of coming more back to that. Like it started a little bit like in that era, like, you know, these younger kids. The kids are all right. They began building it up, and we're still here in this part where it's all coming back. You know, we're not doing masses. I mean, they still happen, but we're not going.
Yeah, I guess like that's the thing. The idea of the massive is like it isn't. Even the parties we did in Knoxville were more like we only had like. We were like, let's only have red light and only have a few of them, and have it be dark and have it, you know, and that's it. There's nothing.
Just
Yeah, and you know, you don't need that many people, but a small room with that like that atmosphere and a good sound system, it's like perfect.
Production, DJing to production. You were producing before you actually were DJing.
Yeah. I wasn't making full dance music. I was just making music using electronic stuff or using my laptop and whatever I would record and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So then you began DJing. Now you understand what sound you want to build, right?
Yeah, exactly.
From there.
Yeah, like gave it a purpose, and I was like, oh, I want to make techno, and I was trying to actually make techno at that time, techno and house.
Who was inspiring you at that point? What were you listening to? Who were the people? Let's start there. Who were the DJs? Who were the producers that you're listening to, and you're like, I want to make something like this?
So Alex Falk, who's in Knoxville, that's like one of the main ones because he was there, and he was like, I think he already had something on like a Hypercolor imprint, and like Marcel Detman was playing his music, so he seemed like he was so cool. And then like Mr. G was like a big influence, and like Jeff Mills, and like kind of I wanted to make stuff sound like warm and like dusty and like kind of hardware techno vibe. I mean, it was like that was like hardware techno and tech house, but like tech house like Mr. G and that style of tech house. And even like Theo Parrish and that like strain of like deep house or like real house or whatever. Yeah,
no,
that was like what I was into. Yeah.
I like when it sounds I like my techno and tech house to sound like a broken dishwasher in the pits of hell.
I mean, that's like the Midwestern thing where like, and I imagine that like if Bill Converse is here, so like that vibe is like also popular here, like where it's like, it doesn't sound like necessarily welcoming, but it's just this like primordial drum noise. Yes.
So you're like, yeah. And then some people are like, oh, okay, this is what, all right. And they can kind of feel it. I mean, there's There's a thing to it. I don't know, but there are some people who are like, I can't. It's repetitive. I don't know why you like it.
It's organic, and it's like it actually feels like more like when you hear it in the environment, like you said, it's organic and real, and like it doesn't like if you tried to play something that was like really like hi-fi and like bouncy and it, had some obvious vocal or something in it, in that environment it would sound cheesy, and it would sound like you were like, it wouldn't, I don't know, it would ruin the vibe.
It's
like
inauthentic,
yeah, there's
right?
it's
You're trying too hard. You're emulating what you think it should be instead of just doing what it is.
that could be what it is. Like I haven't ever placed it like what that is, but that was like, it's still kind of like what, that's like the spirit of everything, of how like what I wanted to do when I was producing.
I love that. What I like when I'm digging, and I want to talk about digging in a second. I realize that what I like besides the broken dishwasher and hell, when it comes to vocals, I also am looking for whenever you've taken too many drugs and you begin to audio hallucinate. When I can find vocals that remind me of that, I just stack it. Like, give me all of that. And you actually, I go down over here, you have a track that reminds me of that. I think it's in Mango. No, wait, it's Just Trying To. The wigged out vocals that you kind of like get in there. It's not the main vocal set, but it's that wigged out, it's like in the background kind of, but it's like, you're like, what is that technique? What is that called? What is it? Do we have a name for that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what I don't know if I have, in that one, I think like it was like, I was just trying to make it sound like the track was melting. I guess that was like what I was going for. Yeah.
My face is melting. Have you ever seen anything? Have you ever hallucinated and saw something melting? It's wild.
I don't actually take drugs.
Good
so
for you.
I don't know.
Good for you. Mind intact. I have, and I have seen something. First time I ever took acid, I saw something. I was like, this is crazy. Now I wasn't making it. I looked over in the corner of my eye. I was like, oh shit, the wall's actually melting. Never seen anything like that since. But I remember it. Nikki, digging. You did some physical digging you were looking through. Let's talk about white labels.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love a white label.
Yeah.
Why do we love them?
I think it has to do with like it feels like a secret or something.
I do. I agree. I agree. Because I'm like, you did something here, and you know this is for somebody, not everybody. You know that this is for somebody though. You don't care. You just threw it into the world. Who are you?
Yeah, and the anonymity of like the records when you buy them, you're like, somebody just made this like weird, press this waveform into this thing, and it doesn't say anything about what it was and why they did it.
Yes.
It was just there.
It's just there, and they're always there. I mean, I'm gonna say it. 90% of the time, very good tracks. Even like on Bandcamp now, people, just got into Bandcamp. I know. Yeah. I'm late. I'm a late bloomer. Definitely has some of your stuff in my favorite, or I bought it and it's some of my favorites. But I'm in there and I'm looking. I'm like, oh my fuck, there's fucking white labels in here. I love also that it's almost like wine, right? You look at the picture of the image and you're like, I don't really feel drawn to this image. And then when you do feel drawn to an image, usually good. Do you find this to be true?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, because for the most part, there's something, either it's on purpose or like subconscious, where like the people who make good or make music, like the music ends up looking somehow like what they packaged it in. I guess.
I agree.
Yeah, with white labels, I think it's also like the artists are comfortable with like their music kind of being a part of this culture rather than just their own kind of like creation.
Oh, I want to take a moment with that. Oh, just touch my mic. Pick that up. It's fine. Take a little moment. That's a good one. That's good. Now, when you are digging, you're doing your electronic digging. Like, I don't know if you still collect vinyl, if you're going to do physical digging, right? Like maybe you are.
I do.
Still are. That's great. How was it moving your vinyl from Tennessee to Atlanta? It's hot in the South.
Yeah, hellish.
Did you move in the winter?
No, it was in the summer.
Well, you are a risk taker.
Yeah, it was stressful. I mean, moving vinyl is like, after we finished moving it, I kind of like was thinking about selling all of it because it was like
such a bitch.
I was like, I don't ever want to do this again.
You're like, I'm staying in Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, like,
it's your babies.
it's hard to, I did go through it right after that and try to get rid of a bunch, but like, I didn't get rid of much. I think like, yeah, it's gonna stick around.
Yeah. I only order them in the winter. And I'll look, you know,
Yeah.
in summer, Texas summers are very long. You only get like maybe 3 months of winter, and of course,
So
climate crisis.
Yeah, you're
so-
ordering them online. That's
Yeah.
you get so many melted records in the summer.
Couldn't. So I just gotta. As soon as we call this false fall. It's not real fall. It's gonna trick you. It's gonna give you a couple mornings. You're like, well, I saw a guy the other day wearing a flannel, and you know, it's now 6 p.m. It's now hot, and he's wearing a flannel. He's riding his bike. I was like, you thought for a second that was gonna work out all day.
Yeah.
Doesn't. New to town. Like as we're ordering our vinyls, we're digging around. You know, you're still using probably the same techniques. You're in a record store. You're lost. You grab a stack. You go listen to them, or do you not listen to them? Do you just grab your stack and go? You do give a listen.
If there's a listening station, definitely, yeah.
Do you have your own portable record player?
No, I have a friend who has one, and it seems like a good thing to get, like,
Have you ever seen Scratch, the documentary?
No.
Oh, Nikki, let me tell you. Scratch. It's about DJing. I mean, we got to cut the interview right now. We got to turn on my Amazon Prime and find it.
Oh.
Send you that too. I got a whole list to send you now, Nikki.
Yeah, I would love to watch that.
It has DJ Shadow right before he was like when he released, you know, like his opus magnum, right? Well, I guess you could call it that. I mean, anyways, you know, we have a premiere. We have Rob Swift, some of the executioners, Visible Scratch Pickles are all being interviewed, and they're all kind of talking about, you know, like when they first began to learn how to DJ. There's so many things in there, and well, you know, Shadow is talking about, I think it may even be somewhere in Tennessee or in Kentucky. He's whenever they would go around to tour, they would always hit up a record store, right? I'm sure as you do too. And they were saying that sometimes, this is back when we relied on phone books, they would go and look in the phone book for record stores, and they'd have a page ripped out because other DJs would do it, so then nobody else would know where else the record stores were.
Whoa.
Shadow had a relationship with this one guy, though, and he kept going in there, and he was like, you should see my basement. And he kept telling him that, and finally one day he's like, let me go see your basement. And so he goes downstairs, and it's just stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks. I mean, it is when you see it for the first time. You know, he pulled a lot of samples for that album, and
That's awesome.
we've got to get you in that movie. You're gonna love it.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So now digital digging, right? Now you're coming in the era of mostly digital digging. Like what? How are you doing this? How are you rabbit holing into this?
I feel like
What's your method?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with, I mean, Bandcamp is kind of my main source of where I buy music. A lot of it is like listening to DJ mixes, but that's like also, I mean, that's one way. But then once I have like labels I like and artists I like, then I guess trying to keep up with those labels and finding out where those artists are also releasing, and then just, it's like a network of associations of labels and artists, and kind of, so just trying to stay in touch with what is happening with all of them, because it's with Bandcamp, like, it's not as searchable as like Beatport or Juno, or like you can't just like, and the genres are not specified or not clear, and that's actually, it's a good and bad thing. It's like makes it less functional for people who are just want to get in and get what they're looking for. But it's cool because like you don't have to like, I mean, you don't have to tag your own genre when you put it like in. If you want your track on Beatport, you have to tell them what it is, and that's like itself kind of, I don't know, demeaning or something.
Yeah, you're like, well, this little banger is right.
Yeah,
you gotta sell it, you gotta market it right then and there.
This one is bass house. This one is breaks.
Yeah, and you're like, it's just, it is what it is. Don't make me do the thing. I like to go and I find a track I like, then I see who else liked it. Then I click on their profile and I look at what they like and what they got.
That's the other thing. Yeah, I forgot about that. I definitely do that too. Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're friends now. Found a guy, and I was like, we like all the same shit. Like, I was like, we're buying all the same stuff. I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
How do I reach out to you? How do we become friends?
I have a friend in Knoxville, my friend John, and he's not like I think he used to DJ like in the 2000s or like 00s and maybe even 90s. But like he was telling me that there's a famous DJ who always buys the records from who always looks at his collection and buys those records. And it's kind of cool that that's happened. Like, you know, this guy, I don't want to say who it is, but it's a DJ who I really like, who's always going into my friend's collection and like, so he gets the Booyakasha notification. You know those? Yeah, you get those. He gets those from and
same. I'm all like, oh, homeboys, I'm in it. Like immediately, like, stop everything. I'm like, what did he get? Let me listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun. I like it. And it's like, you know, like what are you gonna do? Like, you know, you can buy a whole album. There's different cuts you're gonna be playing on it. You know, like I don't know.
Oh, I see it as a positive thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, like I mean, I love when people buy stuff that is in my collection because it means like the artist gets more.
A little bit of validating. Like, oh, you like too? I also like.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Now we have a little bit of time before your bruschetta and baguette comes, so I just want to talk about a couple things. I want to address toxic perfectionism. You know, I have a lot of artist friends. And I've heard some of them sometimes they're producing something and they're like, it's not ready yet. And sometimes things never get released because they feel like it's never ready. Has this ever happened to you?
Yeah, kind of. I think like that thing is specifically like what I had to get over to I don't know, get releases and stuff. I think actually like my friend Alex Falk, who is one of the Knox guys, he has this way of producing that you just crank out like 5 tracks in a session, and they're not all perfect, but some of them are really good and some of them might be bad. And that was like that way of doing things. I was like, I will do it that way instead of like making a track as like making an opus or making like a sculpture or something. It's more like it's just an action that you perfect like the process of. So instead of working on making a good track, I work on getting better at making tracks, and every track I make is just like a snapshot of that procedure. That's like how I feel like is the way to get over that, maybe.
I mean, that was my next question. How do you know when it's time to let it go? That is a methodology. Take some notes, people that are going to be watching this. A lot of people, millions.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're trying to learn right now?
Yeah.
Production-wise, gear-wise, life lessons?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of things. What am I learning? I can start with production, maybe. I guess with production, I'm trying to like learn how to make like more modern sounding stuff. Not that like, well, I don't know. I just realized I couldn't do it like one day.
That's your sandwich. You're going to hear that. That's a sandwich.
I was talking like, I spent years talking shit about EDM. Maybe I can't say that. Sorry, talking trash about EDM.
Why can't you say that?
Or I can say that on here. Okay.
Have you? Didn't I? Have I not? You can say
You might have. I just wasn't.
Oh, it's a problem.
In my head. Okay. Well, yeah. So I spent a long time, talking shit about EDM, and I realized like I can't make that. Like I don't know how they do it. And then there's also stuff that like is maybe more underground techno, but has this like insanely modern production styles. Like I don't know. I'm thinking about like. There's this label called Subcult that I like from China that they just do this stuff that sounds like it's from the future. And I make stuff that like is almost like idiosyncratically old sounding, maybe because I like using, distortion and stuff. And I wanted to figure out how to do that.
I love distortion.
Yeah.
Love it on guitar, Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
Big, big, big. I think that futurism's on its way back. You know, we're doing the whole the kids are really into the 2000s. They're going nuts about like, what was that culture like? It was a terrible time, but they love it. And I think futurism was really big back then. Silver shiny suits, you know, weird little bubble glasses.
I guess this is where Nikki 2K comes in.
Oh, I was really thinking about Goodfellas, like when he says Nikki No-Nos, and I was like, Nikki 2Ks, but it could, right? I thought about that too. I was like, it's kind of a Y2K-ish kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember in that time, like there would always, like video games would come out and it would be like NBA 2K, I think.
Yeah,
like,
oh, yes, yeah. You know, I was watching the TikToks and somebody was like, oh my God, I just realized that Y2K means year 2000. And I logged off. One more question before we go. I want you to tell me your weirdest dream.
So I feel like this was a dream I remember from when I was really little, and I walked into like a hotel, and there was a postman, like a very tall postal delivery man. And he was, and there was like a smaller person next to him, and he was like stepping on the smaller person and flattening him like a pancake. I was just trying to figure out why that was happening. But that was, I remember that was a recurring dream from when I was like 3 or 4 or something. And I don't know what that is.
I love a recurring dream. I would have talked about that with you later, but I have recurring landscapes in different parts of town. It's like a whole thing, yeah.
It's like really interesting to kind of like figure out what that stuff means, like, and because I think it is part of your brain telling you, you know, something about what it wants you to do.
Oh.
Right.
Well, we're going to get into that tonight after you're done with the sound check.
Oh,
before
yeah.
you get in. I have a whole thing about it, so we're going to do that. This was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed you. I think that you're great. I think you're very talented. I love to see I've never seen you play. I'm excited for tonight. We've got a show. He's going to do a show. He's going to eat his baguette and prosciutto. We'll take him to a show. He's going to do a little sound check. It's going to be very bassy. Wish you could be there. Maybe you will. Nikki 2K. Nikki Nair, not the spelunker.
Yeah, not the spelunker.
You're wonderful. Hey, let me put it here. Our hands are a little bit, no, my hand's more sweaty, but.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the interview. It was fun.
Thank you for the interview.
Yeah.
I did too. All right.